Join the Toronto Holocaust Museum and its partners for a community-wide Yom HaShoah commemoration on Sunday, May 5th. A moving evening of film, candlelighting, music, and a tribute to survivors we've recently lost. Keynote speaker Yoni Berus from Yad Vashem will reflect on Holocaust remembrance post-October 7th. The program is at Beth Emeth Synagogue at 7 p.m. Register at torontoholocaustmuseum.org.
These are our collective agreements and policy and procedure. This is my rebuttal to...
That's the voice of Professor Paul Finlayson showing me all the official documents he's printed out about his teaching suspension. He's got them piled neatly all over the family ping pong table in the basement of his home in Maple, just north of Toronto. 5 months ago this week, in late November 2023, Finlayson was barred from campus at the University of Guelph at Humber in Toronto's West End after he put an Israeli emoji flag on his personal Instagram account after October 7th and a few weeks later posted a strongly written comment on his LinkedIn account supporting Israel and criticizing people who support what Hamas did, saying Palestinians who want all of Israel back side with Hitler and are Nazis who want dead Jews. Now, Finlayson himself isn't Jewish, but he says as a result of his comments outside of the classroom, he became the target of complaints that his posts made people feel unsafe in the classroom and on campus. But Finlayson is fighting back. He's mad that exercising his rights to free speech and to support Israel and the Jewish people has actually made him the victim of cancel culture on a Canadian university campus and could likely cost him his teaching career permanently, not just at Guelph Humber, but wherever he tries to get work next.
Maybe saying something pro-Israel is not in my career best interest. I don't know. Obviously, what happened here is not in my career best interest, but I have to live with myself. And no, I'm not going to. I live in a free country, and I will say what I want, and I will stand with Israel if I want.
I'm Ellin Bessner, and this is what Jewish Canada sounds like for Friday, April 26, 2024. Welcome to the CJN Daily, a podcast of the Canadian Jewish News, sponsored by Metropia. Paul Finlayson has been teaching full-time for the past dozen or so years at several Ontario universities and colleges. He has 2 master's degrees. He teaches digital marketing, e-commerce, business writing courses, and more. And he's not tenured, so he cobbles together as many courses as he can per semester to earn a living and teaches at more than one place at a time. As you heard at the beginning, he's been fighting his suspension from home, where he lives with his wife, who is a doctor, and their son and daughter, and the family's 2 West Highland Terrier dogs. The school kept most of the complainants' identities confidential, but they did tell him the name of one, a Palestinian professor at the school named Wael Ramadan. Ramadan says Finlayson's posts were inciting hatred and violence and dehumanized Palestinians and made students feel under threat, especially Muslim students. The school was also told that Finlayson allegedly physically threatened some students who had reposted his LinkedIn post after he deleted it. Now, Finlayson denies any of those allegations. He was locked out of his office on campus. He wasn't permitted to contact any of his former students, and all the new courses he was scheduled to teach for this coming summer semester have been canceled. Now he's under investigation, but has been paid while it's underway. In the meantime, I sat down with Finlayson a few days ago to hear how his life exploded, but why he isn't giving up. Welcome to the CJN Daily.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
I'm actually nice to be in your house. Are you working at the moment for any school?
Yeah, I'm teaching at another university. I'm teaching 4 courses. We're just going into exams now. I am suspended with pay right now from Guelph Humber, and it's probably going to run out in a few weeks.
The other university, they're still paying you and you're still going through your finish of your semester?
Yeah, things are cool at the other university. Yeah, some people took a little bit of a run at me there to try and get me canned, but it was rebuffed quite quickly. Things are fine.
Teach with them in the summer?
I'm going to teach. I got contracts for this summer, so I'm going to teach in this summer, and I'm grateful for the work.
Let's describe where the environment is. What was your involvement, even awareness of the Israel-Palestinian conflict, the history of it, if at all? Like, how did you know anything about it?
I follow. I'm not a professional historian, but I read a lot, and I've read a lot since I was a young child, and I've been to Auschwitz, I've been to Dachau as a teenager on my own.
Really?
And
That's unusual.
yeah, and most people go, to the red light district, and I went to Auschwitz.
Did you go by yourself, hitchhiking, or like how? What? Tell me more about that.
When I was 19, I moved to Switzerland to work for a year on an exchange program, sort of a volunteer program. And I was living and working on a farm in Switzerland and later a farm in France. But I did get some time off. But I just felt it wasn't just a lark. I'd read a lot on it. I guess like as I describe in my Substack, just even reading Leon Cura's Exodus when I was young, and just I've read a lot of books on Israel, and I guess I've always felt sort of an alliance and sympathies, and I've followed and read about everything going on in the Middle East, and it's not a black and white issue. It's very complex, and I'm not saying I'm a world expert in it, but Jewish people are probably the most remarkable culture that's ever lived on this planet. They have about 15 million people. They've won 20% of Nobel Prizes. The culture is a powerful force in an individual's life or in a society's life, and the culture is just very, very productive. And I was always impressed.
Did you have like Jewish friends growing up? Where did you
Yes,
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Winnipeg. I went to a private school there, Ravenscourt, St. John's Ravenscourt, for some years, and there was quite a few Jewish people there. Winnipeg has a pretty extensive Jewish population, and I'm 59, so I'm old enough. The Holocaust is not, it's not just a distant memory. It's still in the shadows and in the darkness, and the ripples of the Holocaust are still permeating Jewish society today, and they certainly were doing even more.
So you had some Jewish friends growing up.
Yep.
Did you ever see any anti-Semitism personally?
I can't remember any anti-Semitism when I was growing up. I mean, institutionalized anti-Semitism isn't that far back, and now I thought it was pushed under the covers. Apparently not, because it's on the streets right now.
When you heard what happened October 7th, where were you? And it was in the middle of the night. It was Saturday morning.
I was at home. I was horrified. I thought of those kids, and sorry, but it affects me now. But my kids, you just met my son and my daughter, and they're the same age of the kids who would have been at that music festival, and they were slaughtered in a medieval, terrifying manner, and they were innocent. And there were old people who are innocent. They're little infants. And to see this, and I thought, like, okay, it wasn't my kids, but why wasn't it my kids? Just by an act of God and circumstance and geography, it could have been. And then I did not expect a backlash against the victims. I thought we were really into the victim culture. But I guess that's just another rule that doesn't apply to Jews. And so soon after that.
Wait, did you know about that Jews are not part of the DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion? Many schools don't accept that Jews are victims.
I hadn't learned that, but I'm sort of saying that sarcastically, because there seems to be in not just institutions, but just in patterns of behavior and culturally, the double standards that people and societies and legislated double standards and non-legislated double standards are just so appalling, and they're so often applied to Jewish people. We claim to be these intellectual people who parse through information and everything's very, very clear, and then we just lose our minds. Not me, but when it comes to Jewish people, I mean, look what we see with these extreme leftist people, and a lot of other people have said this, who are supporting essentially a theocracy, a medieval theocracy in Hamas that would throw them off rooftops and would not allow them to live. And there's Palestinian leaders. They found out they were homosexual and they killed them in the streets. There was no judicial process. And the fact that people on the left affiliate themselves with these monsters, that actually it's not even in their self-interest to affiliate with them, is just mind-blowing.
Was there an atmosphere at all that you noticed before October 7th of Israel bashing or anti-Israel or anti-Zionism or anti-Jews at all? Did you ever twig to any of that?
Yeah, I twigged to it. I had some conversations. I have some IDF merch, some hoodies, because I like them, and because I know that there is this undercurrent of all the cliches about what's going on in the West Bank and Gaza and Israel, and it's sort of this reflexive Gen Z pro-Palestinian. And I wasn't trying to cause a commotion, but I thought, I like this IDF hoodie. I'm going to wear it. I'm allowed to wear what I want. Why shouldn't I wear it? And I got some looks and some people, but
This is before October 7th.
But I had very good conversations with Muslim students, and some of it was agree to disagree, but never an argument, and always respectful. I thought that there was enough sort of reflexive pro-Palestine or anti-Israel. I would just wear my IDF hoodie. It was sort of just a lark, but I don't do well with bullies. I never have, and so I wore it, and a couple of people said things, but it wasn't that big a deal. Free society, free expression. I thought we were all good.
And then, before October 7th, did anything else happen in this vein?
Just some students didn't like my views. Oh, yes, there is one thing. I guess it's right on October 7th. I did put an Israel flag on my Instagram, and someone who was not left-wing and a very nice fellow, or nothing against him, but he apparently told someone that I shouldn't be putting an Israel flag on my Instagram, and I did it not because I'm Jewish, but out of solidarity with the Jewish nation. I didn't get in an argument with him, but my attitude was piss off. I'll do what I want. I don't believe in this sort of just withdraw and be polite and make sure you don't offend anybody. I'm not trying to deliberately offend anyone, but I think when there's pressures in an organization, say anti-Zionist or anti-Jewish, a smarter person or a more practical person might say, well, keep your words to yourself. Don't post, don't say anything, be silent, because there's no good that can come from it. And I just utterly reject that philosophy, because what happens then is the people, the tyrants, the bullies, the squeaky wheels, they just get to dominate the whole narrative. And I'm not willing to let that happen. So if that offends you, let's deal with it. I prefer you talk to me, knock on my door, rather than this all rubbish on the social media and on digital.
But you're a digital marketing professor. Yeah, to be fair, you know how it works. You teach this stuff.
I do, but...
How surprised were you at the reaction to that post and to the one, which is apparently the one that caused to go tip over the edge, which was on LinkedIn?
I was surprised. First of all, I was responding to a guy in Pakistan who was calling for the destruction of a nation. I think that's a pretty vile thing to say. I have friends who are in Israel. There's 9 million people, I think, approximately 7 million Jews, about 2 million Arabs who live there. And he's basically calling for my friends to be killed. And I find that rather offensive. And I'm not a big LinkedIn user. I'm not even a huge social media user. I teach social marketing. But I teach it, but I think that I also teach how social media is so corrosive in our society, and it creates such tribalism. It's really a negative force. But the fact is, with promotion, you have to go where the people are, and it needs to be taught.
Was anything mentioned in class or
No,
have discussions with the students
no,
or in the hallway?
not in the hallway. Students, some students that come to my office talked, and like there were never any arguments. But if someone starts talking about Israel, and they're saying things that I don't think are true, I'm not in a combative way.
Why would they do that to you? Don't they just want to talk about their marks? Or this was right after October 7th and it was fraught?
I'm a bit different. I'm sort of the friendly, chatty. I don't have a huge distance between myself and the students. I have a private office there. I'm friendly with students. They tell me this. You talk, and you're just easy to talk to. So I talk to them all the time. And if they want to talk about life, I've had students, they'll stop by and visit, and they'll talk for an hour, and none of it will be about school related. I'm not trying to be a counselor or even really a friend, but I'm there to listen, and I think they have something to say. I think that generation has something to say.
So you were having like a normal, friendly couple of days. You posted a few things, but from what you're saying to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, life in school in November, October was going along fine, except or there was stuff going on too.
Yeah, life was.
You didn't lead protests.
No.
Write letters to the editor.
No, I did contact administration. I just forgot about this. I don't think I said anything strong. They do these sort of milquetoast statements, and I'm sorry, I don't know why administrators feel the need to comment on every social issue. Like, we're not sitting there waiting for what you have to say. I'm sorry, we're not. And it's annoying. And of course, on this, they have to, like our Prime Minister, they have to come right down the middle, which average is really no position at all, or the middle is no position at all.
So you thought it was lame, and you let them know it.
I said, and then the one they came out with was a little better, and I said, that's better.
So they knew a little bit about that you were around. Then somebody complained. How did it all escalate in a matter of days, hours?
A student who was very friendly to me said on Instagram, there's some students found your LinkedIn post, and they've done a screen capture, and they've put it on Instagram, and they're agitating, and you just better be careful. Maybe you should be proactive and go talk to the administration about this.
Did they tell you to take it down?
No, they did. Nobody told me. I took it down soon after, because I said I did it sort of rolling my eyes. It wasn't like the most well-crafted manifesto. It was reacting to a guy who wanted Israel destroyed. It was the typical post that people do on Twitter, and I thought nothing of it. And then the next thing you know, I'm in a little detective room on the top floor, just with a lot of animosity there, and I'm pushing back, but then it just blew up. I don't think this has ever happened to them before. I think they had no idea what they were doing, and it was just chaos, and I think it's still chaos. I think sometimes we ascribe to malice what is really incompetence with a little bit of malice sprinkled in, and unfortunately incompetence with malice sprinkled in is still a pretty deathly soup to drink. So
the students complained, or another professor complained, and like who's your accuser?
It started with students, and then I got a complaint, an official human rights complaint, and that was driven by a fellow professor. And the claimant, but the official person who signed this human rights complaint was the vice provost, which freaked me out, and I didn't understand, and I knew it was against the rules. And then I got, on the human rights complaint, I found out that other people have been complaining. There's one principal accuser, and I don't know if probably about 6 or 7 and anonymous ones, and the principal one is anonymous officially. I just found out because they put the person's initials, like, give me a break. I'm not that stupid. I figured it out in about 2 seconds. And I don't know this person at all. I've seen them teaching, but I don't know them. I don't know of them, really.
We can say that it's a known anti-Israel person with major social media trails of horrible stuff.
And then parents are attacking me, of students. They all kept saying, I fear violence. I don't feel safe. And there was all these words that are associated with violence. And then it turns out, then there was a accusation that I had physically attacked a student in class and ripped off his shirt and was escorted out by police or security, depending on what variant of the story you hear. And this is a complete lie. I was at home. It's very offensive to me. I love my students. And first of all, I'm not a very tough guy anyways. I'm a lot older than them, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not violent. I think I've raised my voice in class very rarely, and I've never had a conflict in a class. And then suddenly I'm being accused of violence. And then this is the way things work. If you say you feel unsafe because of a false claim, you're allowed anonymity. So it's a circular argument, and it's actually not covered by the policies. I guess the anxiety is not from like you'd get during a trial. In a civil trial, there's a sense of due process and of truth and evidence. But in university tribunals, they really are very Maoist. They're kangaroo courts. They have something called balance of probabilities with, they say, very low evidentiary standards. I think they might be zero. It's who they believe. If they choose to believe a liar over someone telling the truth, they can, and you can be fired for it. And that's just the way it is.
What do you want to come out of this?
First of all, I'd like it to be over. The process should have been finished months ago, and I would still like my job back. I know because of the petri dish of gossip, and I'm not talking just students, staff. I have recorded staff accusing me of crimes and trying to convince students that I did these crimes, and of saying that the school's been trying to get rid of me. No, they haven't been. My human resources file is empty. I was, if not the best, one of the best in the department. It sounds arrogant, but I'm not going to. This person is basically trashing my record. And then they said in December, this staff member said that they had heard from their boss or their boss's boss that Paul Finlayson will be terminated. So I have to live with that. For 4 months, I've been told that a senior administrator who has the power to do this is already going to fire you anyways. So, but we want you to go through the steps, okay? We want to make it official because we want to look like we actually are playing by the rules. We can fire you because we don't like the color of your socks, but we're going to pretend that it's a reason. So what am I looking for? I still would like to return to work. I can handle myself in the classroom. Apparently, students right now think that I'm a huge racist. I'm not. And if they can think what they want, if it's such a hostile work environment, maybe that wouldn't even work. I don't know. What I think will happen is probably in the summer, they will continue their little pseudo process, and the person who's making the charges against me is also the one determining my discipline, which is, so they get to
the provost.
Vice provost, yeah. So they get to multitask because they can be judge and prosecutor. The union undoubtedly will grieve it. The school would reject the grievance, and then it would go to arbitration, and then the arbiter could give me my job back. That rarely happens. So what normally actually happens, I'm told, is rather than send someone back to work, they just buy them out and they just throw fistfuls of cash at them. And
A settlement,
yeah. So that probably will happen. The other options, it's not only the union route, defamation, I guess I'll just leave it open-ended. I'm going to pursue all legal options. It's a very, very clear, it's black and white. It's basically the University of Guelph and Humber College and Guelph Humber are saying that if you say you stand with Israel and Hamas are Nazis, we will make your life hell. We will treat you like a criminal. We will banish you. You will cut you off from your community. We will allow gossip, and our own staff will encourage the gossip, and we will try and destroy you, and we will fire you if you say you stand with Israel. So the normative belief now is anti-Semitism, and the aberrant fire him belief is standing with Israel. And I think that's a huge red line, and I hope the Gentile community and the Jewish community says, no, enough. I've got a lot to be grateful for. I'm not a victim, but what has happened is wrong. And I believe anti-Semitism is a condition of the human heart, but I believe there's a lot of it there. And I'm not going to be bullied. I'm not going to show any remorse. I am not apologizing. I said I stand with Israel. And I said that Hamas are Nazis, and I don't know why I'm emotional now, but I don't care what they do. I am not backing down. I'm not equivocating on that. I think what I said was fine under free speech, and appreciate all the support that I'm getting right now, especially from the Jewish community, but I am not backing down. So what I would like to accomplish through this is that these institutions, the ones I'm dealing with, but perhaps other institutions too, that they see, wow, if we do something like this to this professor, instructor, lecturer, they got a lot of backlash, the U of Guelph did in the media, and it really hurt them, and we don't want this to happen to us. So maybe we should act like a civilized, decent human being and actually treat this instructor who are, it doesn't have to be in academia, whoever they are, decently, and not push them out the door because they don't agree with our views on Israel. So I would hope if the backlash is strong enough here that it would somewhat inoculate people in the future that we don't know about.
And that's what Jewish Canada sounds like for this episode of the CJN Daily, sponsored by Metropia, Integrity, Community, Quality, and Customer Care. If you'd like to follow Professor Finlayson's blog, the link is in our show notes. It's called Freedom to Offend. As for legal help, he did have a lawyer for a while, but not anymore, although several Jewish lawyers in Toronto and the community did reach out to him to offer legal help. Our podcast is produced by Zachary Judah Kaufman. Our executive producer is Michael Freeman. Our musical theme is by Dov Beck-Levine. And if you like the show, please tell a friend to follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Or you can sign up for the CJN's emailed newsletters, and we'll send it to you in your inbox every day. We'll be back after the last 2 days of Passover on Wednesday, May the 1st, the start of Jewish Heritage Month. And thanks for listening to the CJN Daily.